Hello, everyone watching. This is my presentation. I'm Marvin Dent. So my presentation is related to online learning. I champion this method, so I find it fitting to compare it with the classroom-based learning. Hopefully what I've done, my research will kind of explain a little bit my points from the findings, mainly from what I conducted. So let us begin. Okay, so this is my research question. Is online teaching the natural replacement for the traditional classroom? I wanted to find out if this was just my opinion and what did I need to look at to find that out. I wanted to know if people are going more towards online now as opposed to the past of the traditional classroom method. Okay, so let's move on. Slide through. First, I would just like to offer a small comparison. Why choose the classroom? Okay, so there are group opportunities. You can work together with a group, maybe friends, all that kind of stuff. That can create a nice sense of camaraderie. There is peer support, great for sharing and learning together, which can be a really great method. Cultural learning, a chance to learn in another culture with other people is really good. Travel, this is one of the best ones, I think. You get the opportunity to go to maybe English-speaking countries with a large amount of your friends or, just a big group and kind of share that together. And also similar levels. It's very important to share the level with other people. So maybe you're sharing the difficulties together as well as the successes. And there you see me sharing those successes. Okay, so classroom learning. What did the research say? So Jeremy Harmer, one of my favorite ones, he said one of the most important tasks is having to organize, get people ready for certain activities. Is this a hindrance? Could this be a hindrance compared to doing it online where you don't need to do that? You don't need to organize large groups of students. It is just there. So maybe you can get down to the learning. What do you think? Why choose online? Let's get to that. Why choose it? So I'm not killing the classroom. I do like it. But here online, you can have one-to-one opportunities, specific tailored courses, an intimate atmosphere. It can be goal-based and no bureaucracy and paperwork. I like the idea of making a goal with your student and then just working to achieve that. Maybe in the class, there's more fun, more games, more stuff like that, and maybe you're less focused on development of the language, possibly. But my personal favorite, no dress code. There is why. Very important to feel comfortable. Sometimes when there's a dress code, you can lose that. You lose a bit of the comfortable factor. So the research on online learning, Hockley and Clanfield said that it's becoming increasingly popular in the field of language and even mainstream teaching. Interesting thing about that, that was 10 years ago. I wasn't even teaching 10 years ago. So you would only assume that 10 years later, right now, it's even more popular for people to teach in this way, to learn in this way. And this is why I wanted to do some research into it, because this is my primary way of teaching now. Originally just a second job, now it's my first. Choosing an instrument. So I chose the interview. Partridge suggests that it gives you, a various amount of things you can do to tailor technique to specific focuses. So I thought this would be the best one for me. The most important one for me was the fact that you could record it. So then I could listen back and see about extra things I might have missed from just a regular conversation. You might miss some things. So yeah, I believe this was the best way. It was an open discussion with the student, which definitely helped. And I was able to listen again, record again. Oh, sorry, not record it again, listen again. And then listen and analyze what was said. Choosing the right person to interview. Had to be someone with experience of both. So they needed to be both a teacher and a student. I wanted them to have had experience in online and in the classroom, because that way I could kind of get maybe a varied opinion. And also had to be a non-native speaker and maybe somebody who'd done it for a longer amount of time. Although that wasn't imperative, I still would have I liked to have that. Here are all my questions. So these are the questions I created with different kind of whats and hows. First one was like an intro-based question. So I wanted to kind of warm the student up, get them ready for this. And that was really important, I felt. Okay. So what the research taught me about interviews, well, it definitely was difficult and more difficult than I expected. One of the reasons was, as soon as you hit record, some of the natural feel of the actual conversation and questioning system was actually lost. For me, that was quite a surprise because I knew the student quite well, which I understand is also maybe the potential for ethical bias. And that's the thing, as Hermanowitz suggested in a very funny way, that you need to kind of loosen up the student or kind of get to know the student a lot more. I tried to do that. I tried to follow the respected experts in the field. So what I learned from this process, the questions were answered quite well, and I felt like it gave me a nice opportunity for future research. Now, I'm really grateful that I had that. I actually got some opportunity for future research by the fact of some of the answers. I didn't expect one or two extra positives than I already assumed. And what didn't go well? Well, I have to say, what I desired from the whole process was not 100% clear. I had a lot of problems with the research questions. This for me was a big difficulty, being a first-time researcher. Perhaps one or two questions were weaker. They didn't provide enough for me to analyze and only got one-word answers. Perhaps my questions, one or two of them were too long. And so the student would then respond, tough question, which made me think that maybe I needed to make the questions smaller and a lot simpler and not use so much, not elongate the sentences as much. I interrupted the interviewee during a question, which actually stopped me getting more. And I felt that could have gotten me even more data that would have really helped my process. Okay, so how can I improve? I think I should be able to be clearer with what I want from the questions. That definitely would set me up a lot stronger than it did. And I definitely should learn from that. Allow more time to ask more questions and talk a few minutes with the interviewee before starting the process. Perhaps maybe also think about not picking somebody who I knew shared the same thing with me, but maybe somebody who's completely opposite or maybe loves the idea of the classroom more, so I could get even more diverse data from it. Here's my coding. So as you can see, the words comfortable and convenient, and opportunity and time were three that I really kind of focused on here. Very interesting to see, actually did open up a bit more for me to research. And as you see here, opportunity being the opportunity online allows you to learn from home. It allows you to have maybe an opportunity you don't necessarily have, maybe when you get older. And the comfortable factor is very important. As I said before, with no dress code, it's very important to feel like you're able to be yourself. You can relax, there's just one person looking at you instead of 10, 12, 15. And time, another important factor. When you focus, you don't have to travel to work. You don't need to go back and forth. You don't need to travel to the classroom location. Sometimes those 20, 30, 40 minutes can be quite tough if you're older, maybe you've got kids, maybe you've got a family. And here's my references. I just want to say thank you for listening to my interview and my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much.